just playing with you. I just playing with you. What the hell? Okay, so what's up, everyone? How you guys doing? I'm Annoying Artist, and welcome back to another episode of TOMGIRL Podcast. Like I said last episode, this will be a very special episode because I have in the studio with me right now Miss Jewel Cadet.
Hey.
We have this awesome episode with you. We have this awesome episode today about mental health as far as relationships and in the Black community. So I cannot wait to welcome her. She's on the mic right now. Your mic is live. Say, hey, what's up?
Hey, what's up, people?
So, what are your pronouns? Just go ahead and just kind of, get that out there.
Yeah, so my name is Jewel. My pronouns are she and her.
Okay. So tell me a little bit about your background and what you do.
What I do. So, career-wise, I'm a program manager at a nonprofit, and I teach self-defense, which is super badass. But I also like to highlight that I'm not a martial artist. So when people come in, they're like, how long have you been training? Like, do you have a black belt? I'm like, no, I don't have a black belt. I'm not a martial artist, but I do know like very basic self-defense techniques that I teach. I also run a variety of different like leadership programs for young people. My organization, Center for Anti-Violence Education, we just got this really dope grant to like have a leadership program for youth who are transgender and gender nonconforming. So I'm excited about that. And outside of that, I'm a radical Black activist with
That
Black.
you are.
Yes, Black activist with Black Youth Project 100, and I'm chapter co-chair. So.
Okay.
That's me.
So you busy. So you
I'm
hella
so busy. But I blocked out today
I know.
to
I like
do
that.
this.
I like that. I was like, what? I was like, what?
Yes, I'm here. I'm super busy. I'm trying to be less busy though. That's my goal for 2018.
Okay.
To be less busy.
So tell the people why you are here today and how you got in contact with me or why you felt that it was so important for you to come on my show and talk about these issues.
Well, I like podcasts. I don't listen to them as much as I would like to, but I feel like when I saw your video on Instagram, it really caught my eye because I'm like, you're Black, you're lesbian. Like, these are things like, yes, I love Black people. I love Black lesbians. Like, I want to hear conversations that, people are having. And I felt that you were very, like, funny. And, like, I love storytelling. I think that you're really good at that. And so I was like, I want to get on. So I was like, when you going to have me on? So now I'm on and we're here.
I know.
I love talking about relationships. I did. I slid through the DMs.
And I said that.
I slid through the DMs.
I have an episode titled Dreams Come True in the DMs.
Wow.
She's for real about this.
Yes.
So let me look into her, and I appreciate it. Thank you so much for even even listening to my shit, even watching the videos. That just means so much to me that people actually listen and they care and they want to know what you're talking about. So thank you. I appreciate it.
Yeah, of course. Thank you for having me on. You could have just totally like swerved me sliding through the DMs.
No, because like no lie, like this is how I wouldn't say met you, but I came in contact with her. We were at this Brooklyn Boyhood Joy Day party in the summertime, and it was Brooklyn, and the weather was nice, and we were sitting out back, and this young woman walks up, and she sits down next to me, and she had this purple hair, and I was listening, or I was eavesdropping to her conversation, and you were having a conversation with Erica, and the topics and the things that you were discussing was really, really good. And I wanted to just kind of join in, but I didn't really know y'all like that. But I was like, I don't know who this girl is. But best believe, after this party, when they post these pictures and they tag her Instagram, I'm going to find her. And that's what I did.
Oh, wow.
So I knew who you were.
This is exciting.
Yeah.
I wonder what me and Erica was talking about. But
I'm a fan of hers, too. So shout out to Erica.
Yeah, shout out to Erica Hart.
What's her
It's my friend.
Instagram?
I Heart Erica?
I think so.
It's so interesting because it's like, Erica's like my friend, like my real life friend. You know what I mean? We text all the time. We hang out. We don't hang out as much as we would like because we're both busy. Right. But like I really like love Erica. So shout out to her doing it.
She's doing big things, and they also have a podcast titled.
Ooh, don't.
Hood rats to head rats.
Yes, yes.
Rats to head rats.
Yes.
Hood rats
to head raps. There we go. Yes. With her partner.
I think with her partner.
Yes.
Ebony. That's correct. And I don't have all the information in front of me to give it to you right now.
Yep.
We already shot out her Instagram.
Yes.
So yeah. So let's get into it. This topic, mental health within the Black community, how there's such a stigma around it, and I feel that it's very important for people, especially Black people, to actually go to a therapist and unwrap what they're going through and talk about it. So kind of like explain to me the importance of that.
Yeah, I think that's really important. But one thing that I would say is I wonder, so one, I think in terms of therapists, for people who do want to take that route, I think as Black people, it's really important that we have Black therapists. Yes, and that we have,
and I really made sure that person was a person of color.
Exactly. So to me, it's like having a Black therapist and having a variety, right, of Black therapists who are available to do this. So like, for example, like we need to have Black queer women. We need to have Black therapists who are transgendered and non-conforming. Like that is super important. I have a lot of friends who have therapists and their therapists are white or, and it's just, and I know that there's struggle with that. I also know accessibility with that is real. Insurance, like where are the Black therapists who take all types of insurance? Where are the Black, even deeper, where are the Black therapists who do stuff like without insurance? Yeah. I want to meet those who are like, yo, you don't have insurance?
I have one in a way.
Really?
Yeah.
You the plug?
He can be, because he's been doing this for so long.
Yeah.
And he's Haitian.
Yes, like I say, it's my people.
Yeah, and he's getting ready to retire from his like doctor job. He works at like a hospital, like a mental health hospital, so he has his own side practice.
Yeah. So
where he does take my insurance or whatever, but we kind of have this thing going where I'll work around it. Like usually like my copay is $30. So anytime I want to see him, it's $30, right? So what we are doing, we are working on reaching a goal. So that requires me to see him just more than once a month. Because he wants to know how I'm doing like every week, rather than, hey, okay, I see you once a month. Let me, here's your script. Have a nice day. We're actually trying to work towards a goal. So my copay is $30, right? That's a lot of money.
Yes.
I see him once a week. Now, if I were to dish out, that much a month, that'll be a lot.
Yeah.
So he'll pretty much cut it in half, be like, okay, I can see you, a week, once a week, and at the end of the month, you can pay me, I don't know, $60.
Oh.
Yeah.
That's good. Yeah, we need more of those.
Yeah.
And like having insurance is real. For the longest, I didn't have insurance. And so an insurance that I have now doesn't, it's not good where I have a plethora of Black therapists to go see. So it's just, I say all that to say that that's real. And another piece of that too is outside of seeing a therapist, like going to healing spaces, being a part of different holistic wellness things, I think are also really important. Like some Black meditation circles, like we need that too. So just in case you don't want to do a therapist thing, there's other ways. Yeah.
Most definitely. So, during our discussion, we talked about something that really, really struck me, and that was the idea or the notion that if you try to come to your family members for help or talk to them about help or, even discuss the fact that, hey, I might want to go see a therapist or I might want to go see a psychiatrist. And that doesn't necessarily mean that I'm bipolar or schizophrenic, but to them, well, my family at least, it's okay. Everything's going to be okay. Why don't you just pray to God? That's the response I get a lot.
Right.
I'm like, hey, Mom, today's Tuesday. I got to go see my therapist at 9 a.m. Well, what's wrong? What you going through? Just pray to God. You don't really need to go to that.
Oh, my goodness.
Yeah.
If only praying to God. Cause like Black people, and I always bring it to Black people because that's who I care about. If Black people, we've been going through stuff since forever. And if only praying was the answer, we wouldn't have went through slavery. Right. We wouldn't have went through a whole lot of stuff.
Right.
But we still, all these verdicts of these white officers getting off from killing us and not having any, we would just pray. We would just pray and pray and pray. If only that worked by itself. So no, I don't agree with that. I think there's a lot of stigma around it, right? It's like, you don't need to go to this therapist. Right. Yes. And I think, honestly, low-key, I kind of feel like Black families, like, you know how therapists will be like, tell me about your childhood and tell me these things.
And to be honest, and let me say this, I don't want to cut you off, but
it's okay, cut me off.
that's where a lot of these issues are deeply rooted, and that's where they start.
Yes.
So when I went to my psychiatrist, honestly, I was just there to get my motherfucking medication, just get my pills. I was like, hey, I live in New York now. My former doctor is out in Albuquerque. This is a controlled substance. According to New York State, you were the only one who can write me this prescription. And I have to see you. So here I am. And we start off the first session, and he's like, so tell me about your childhood. What about your mom and daddy?
Right.
What about your little brothers? Do you like your little brother? Do you love your little brother? And I'm like, excuse me? It was very intrusive to where I was like, nigga, you don't fucking know me. Why are you asking me about my little brother? So that's important. And a lot of the issues, a lot of the things that we carry around start in our childhood.
Yes.
And for a lot of people, a lot of this trauma, we kind of suppress it. We don't talk about it. We don't think about it. We just kind of bury it. Yep. So now here you are, 28, 25 years later, trying to pull shit up about, what happened when I was 5 years old. I'm like, wait a minute. I've been really keeping this.
Yes.
And it's really here.
Yes.
And maybe I should face it. And maybe I do XYZ because maybe I have some serious mommy issues.
Right.
You know what I mean? And that's scary.
Right.
It's weird. But you have to talk about it, and you have to address it.
Yeah. So why would family want you to? Because I think a lot of black exactly.
They're the reason.
So they know.
They face it. Hey, mom.
Exactly.
Maybe you weren't as much emotionally available to me as I would like.
Right.
As a child. So maybe now in my grown-up, relationships that I have with women, why do I seek out women who are like motherly types?
Yes.
So why do I do that?
And that's a whole other topic that we could probably get to, right? Is because we talk about how daddy issues play into relationships, especially when you date women, right? Especially, because I know that the issues that I have with my mother plays out in relationships, right? Whether, and I think that's a real situation, right? And I know that people who have dated me, women who have dated in the past, that has played out too, right? In terms of their issues with their moms or whatever have you. So I think that's a very a big part. But I do want to get back to the childhood piece. I think that families don't want, especially black families, we have this thing that's hush hush, right? Even if you think about soul food and you think about all those shows that show black families, they don't want you to air out laundry, right? We'll be sitting at the same table with that uncle who has three girlfriends, and this one aunt who we know has about a couple of bottles of alcohol in her purse because maybe she just doing too much, whatever. But we don't we don't want to go to a therapist and talk about, don't air out our dirty laundry, right? And I think that's what families, they get nervous. What you talking about with this person? Right. Well, I'm talking about all the things that you did
and as a matter
to
of
me.
Fact, and as a matter of fact, you might need to sit in on some of these sessions with me. Yeah. And he even asked me, he was like, hey, Ariana, do you think your mother would want to come here and sit on these sessions with you so you guys can talk about things? I said, honestly, Doc, I don't even know where my mother is. You know what I'm saying? I do love my mom, and I talk to her, and I have a good relationship with her, but I'm like, she does her own thing. I'm like, for her, I don't know, maybe she will, but I know when I told her about you, she was like, oh, why are you doing that? I'm like, Doc, my mother is not even home right now. She's in Jacksonville somewhere. You know what I'm saying? She does her own thing.
Right.
And I think she's always wanted to do her own thing. Not that she doesn't love me or her kids, because she does a lot, but I feel like a lot of it now it's okay, you're grown, I'm done, being a mom, I done raised you. But I'm like, no, Mom, we still need to talk about, certain things.
Right.
Yeah.
So true.
Right. Give me one second. That it's not important.
Yeah, they just think it's not important. And like I said, I think that a lot of black families like to keep everything on the hush. And there's a lot of intersections with blackness, right? So I know you talked about, there's Southern black, right?
Oh, yeah.
And then
all types of different blacks.
And so my family is Haitian specific, right? But Caribbean black. And so we're really about you don't need to worry about any of that. That's not important. Definitely about prayer, definitely about other things. Take this, let's mix it together with this and you'll be fine. All of that stuff, the concoctions, get the spiritual. Right. Throw some salt behind this, burn some sesame seed, whatever. Sage. Get in front of that altar, just all this type of stuff and you'll be fine. And like I said, I value all of that. I grew up in a house where that was definitely a part of my culture, and I didn't understand it as a child in terms of like the different spiritual pieces of being Haitian, but that definitely was just like, oh, you feeling sad, feeling depressed? You do this, you know? You feeling this way? Oh, your father didn't come get you this weekend? It's okay, just go here. And I'm like, no, but I'm really sad about this.
Right, yeah.
It's interesting, I also wasn't allowed to like be emotional. You know how people always be like, oh, boys don't cry. In my house, being that there weren't really men around, it was very like, you're a strong black woman and you're not supposed to be crying. And I was like, I'm 7. I'm not a woman. Right. I'm a girl. I'm a child, and I want to cry. And my grandma was like, why are you crying? Go in the room, wash your face. Like, I grew up in a house where it was like you weren't allowed to cry, which to me I think also helps with, it also caters to this like mental health stigma. It's like this idea of sadness is not welcome here. Like, if you're sad, go do that in your privacy of your room. Yeah. But like, that's not welcome here. And I'm like, that's not healthy. Right. I need to let you know that I'm sad.
Right.
You know?
It's definitely important for especially children to feel these emotions, be upset, cry, talk, be loud. You know, I feel that within like a lot of black families, like children you don't want them to be loud, you don't want them to talk to get on your nerves. Let them talk, let them express themselves. You know, that's what they do. And, you know, growing up for me, depending on, you know, whose side of the family I was with, you know, that's important too. I couldn't come home and not, like, if I were to ever get into like an altercation or a fight, a little neighborhood squabble with the girl down the street, I couldn't come home and not beat this whole ass. You know what I'm saying? Or if I did, and my grandmother or my cousin, someone found out about it, they'd be like, okay, you didn't beat her ass. When you come home, I'm gonna beat your ass.
I heard that same thing.
So you better beat this whole ass. And that was real in some parts of some sides of my family. Not so much my maternal and my mother's side, but depending on who I was staying with and who was keeping me at the time. And Ariana got into it with little Stacy up the street. And, you know, and Stacy grandma come down to my grandma's house and told her what this has happened. You best believe I had to whoop Stacy's ass. Or my grandma or my cousin, somebody's gonna whoop my ass. And I don't want no ass whoop. It's on Stacy's ass.
So we gotta fight.
I don't want no ass whooping.
But imagine that's 2 black children who both have those, like, whose families are both saying that. So y'all probably both fighting, not because y'all want to, but because both of y'all don't want to be the ones who have to go home and get the whooping. So y'all like, listen, I don't really want to fight you, but like, I don't want to get beat up. So one of us gonna have to go down.
Right, it is what it is.
Yes. So my mother definitely didn't want me to get beat up, but at the same time, my mother also was like, I don't want you to get in trouble. So like, I want to make sure that you protect yourself, but you also, I better not have no police bring you home. Yeah. And you better not get spent from school. So it was like, so I got to defend myself, but make sure I don't get in trouble.
Get in trouble.
Maybe that was like preparation for something else that's bigger. Like do stuff that's not so good, but just don't get in trouble for it.
Don't get caught.
I like that. Thanks, Mom.
I didn't have that growing up.
No.
It wasn't so much not get in trouble. I didn't care if I got in trouble. And actually, as an adolescent or as a teenager, I got into a lot of trouble.
Really? And it was okay, for you to... Oh, so that's the point.
And at that time, from the ages about 12 to 15, those adolescent puberty years, I was off the chain bad. I mean, terrible. And everything was funny to me. Everything was funny. Yeah, and I just wasn't allowed. So I got so many whoopings. Oh my God. So it had just became a routine to where, you know, I would like come home and I'd be like, damn, it's 4:30. My grandma about to pull up. Let me just go here and sit down on this bed because she about to whoop my ass.
Yes.
She about to whoop my ass. And I'm just like, now that I look back on it, and I'm not upset with her. I'm not mad at her because I was really a bad child. I mean, I was like off the chain. So she was doing all that she could. What she knew how to do to kind of keep me from like getting in trouble, stop me from hanging out with the wrong people, and you know.
Yeah.
And so it worked. I just was like, God damn, stop beating on me.
But do you think that like getting beat, right, which sounds really intense, but getting whoopings, however we want to phrase it, do you think that plays a role in relationships and romantic relationships when we get older?
Yes and no. Although I got a lot of fucking whoopings all the time, I, to this day, have never been that aggressive and angry to be like, okay, let me go do the same thing to my partner. Let me go put my hands on my partner. And actually, I'm very anti-domestic violence. And if it's anything that I absolutely have a zero tolerance for, it's for that. It's for domestic violence, putting your hands on your partner or anyone of that matter. That, you know, or I really don't like rapists, child molesters. They're like right up there.
Yeah.
There's some things that I just absolutely zero tolerance. Those two things.
Yeah.
Zero tolerance.
Yeah. But I feel like in the Black community, I'm trying to figure out, like, so many of us wear whoops, right? And so, like, so many of us would be with a variety of different things. And there's a
You know, my grandma used to, I was like, bro, you got to start getting creative. I'm going out to the tree and getting the switch.
The switch. See, now, that depends on where you are at, right? Because, like, I'm from Brooklyn, from Eastern New York. What switch? What tree?
No.
What, you know, there wasn't no access to that. So I definitely feel like there's levels to, like, what people got hit with, right? And I think there's a level of, like, discipline and abuse. And I studied, you know, early childhood a lot in school, and I have very strong feelings about that. But I think a lot of it is around control. And I know that for me, when my mom did that, my mom's thing was the belt. That was her thing. But I think about it, and I'm like, in terms of Blackness, right? My mom was like, okay, pull your pants down and bend over. I'm like, the belt. Isn't that familiar? That's like some slavery whooping shit, right? On some whipping posts, bend down, turn around. I don't want to see your face. I'm getting a belt like a whip.
Yeah.
And I'm gonna beat you.
And I don't think we
what the fuck? That's what I'm trying to. But like the fact, like that is some deep stuff, right? But a lot of it is control, and a lot of it is like I have a very sassy mouth, and I've always been like that. So mom would be like, "Do this," and I'm like, "I don't want to." Go to the store. You go to the store. Like, so I was hit as often as I remember. Like, I mean, my whole childhood, I remember each day at least having one whooping. But I think a lot of it was control, and I think it plays out in relationships too, because a lot of times people who do want to, you know, who are abusers, they want to control their partner.
Yes.
So it plays a big role.
Yes. Yeah, and I'll just, you know, say one little thing before we, like, move on to, like, relationships. Yeah, as far as, like, me getting a whooping, I was never asked to physically, hey, pull down your pants and bend over. No. That shit was happening on sight when you saw me. There wasn't no, hey, bend down. It was, give me that belt. She would whoop me standing up. She would, you know, hit the belt across my face. It was like, whoa,
face. Oh no.
Yeah.
Damn
wasn't
it.
no, hey, no.
Yeah.
No. And you know what? I didn't really, you know, get beat with like extension cables and electric cord.
Yeah.
I think that might have been like my mom on them.
Yeah.
And auntie. But by the time that I came around, you know, like, you know, late 90s, early 2000s, it was just like, no. You getting whooped on spot, and if you try to move, you move this way, you move that way.
Yeah. Oof.
I was scared of my grandma. I ain't gonna lie. Now that we're talking about it, she was not one to play with.
But fear. But what? But like all of these things, I think play a role. Like why? Like fear, control, domination.
Right.
All of that stuff. Like why? Why are we trying to impose this on children? And tell me, that's like how I have a firm belief that and I'm gonna go on a limb and I'm gonna say every Black person has some sort of mental health challenge because of the trauma that we've faced, whether you know, the way we were disciplined, quote, and I'll use that very loosely, some people abused, right? But discipline, abuse / as a child, and how different, like just the way we've been raised, also the historical trauma. Like I said, the fact that I can literally link, like, okay, bend down, bend over, let me get this belt, to linking that to slavery. That's historical trauma. So to me, it's like, find me a Black person who don't have trauma. Find me a Black person who haven't had struggle. And I will be like, and I would really question
Sasha Emilia Obama. That's it. Sasha Emilia Obama. You think so?
They got trauma? Okay. You didn't hear? Yo, they have a lot of trauma. It's different levels, right? But I think being in the public eye comes with so much. You know how when they was like, oh, you know, they found a picture of her partying or something like that, they were calling her all types of stuff. When she got accepted to the Ivy League school, they was calling her Monkey Coon. Like, so none of us is exempt.
No, yeah, none of us is exempt.
Nope.
You're right. She's like, nope. I like that. She's like, no. That's very important. So how do you think that ties into relationships?
Yeah.
Domestic violence in relationships, especially, you know, African American Black relationships.
Yeah.
Gay and lesbian relationships.
Yes. Especially and specifically. Yeah. I mean, like I said, I think that, you know, that ties in. You talking about in terms of like the abuse of what we were talking about? Yeah, I think that, like I said, in terms of the power and domination and control, I think that if the first people who are meant to love us the strongest are imposing these forms of power, control, and domination over us, then as we get older and get into romantic relationships, we have a very hard time in differentiating, is that supposed to happen in relationships? Like, if my partner is mad at me, is it okay if they do these things? Because my mama did these things, and my father did these things, and my grandma. So I think it's super hard for us to figure out. And if you think about, like, even when I think about relationships in terms of like what is love, right? My mom would always say, this is hurting me more than it's hurting you.
Yeah.
And I'm like, is it? Because you also don't have to do this. Like, you know what I mean? And it's just, so, and I mean, like I said, I think that my mom, and like a lot of other Black parents, do this, you know, they love their child and they don't want their child to grow up the wrong way. And so it's this concept of like, I'm doing this to make sure you're going down the right path. But it's wrong, it's incorrect, it's wrong. And so I definitely feel like that plays a huge role. And for me, like I'm a survivor of domestic violence, and it was by the hands of a woman, right? And when I dated men way back in the day, you know, that actually that was never a situation. And I got a girlfriend, we were together for 3 years, and it was like a horror in terms of that. And I had to hide a lot of that with makeup. I had to hide a lot of it, like with a lot of different things I had to hide. And also, this is a person who had mental health issues, right? And definitely use that as a way to say, oh, well, you know how I get when I'm angry. So you did this. And I would just be like, you're right, I'm sorry. I did make you upset. And I look back on it now, I'm like, oh my gosh.
So what would tick her off?
Everything. I think it's therapy to talk about stuff. Right now, you're my therapist, Ariana. Dr. Sullivan in the building. Yeah, I think like little things. So like there was an issue with, like, I'm very like outgoing, and you know, I guess I had some success to a level of like having a degree and having jobs. Like I experienced upward mobility in terms of like having jobs that was like, oh, this job is better than your last job, whatever. So every time I would get some sort of like new form of success, whether I'm getting a raise or something like that, that would trigger her, because it would make her feel like she wasn't doing well in life. And I'm like, no, this is about my success. And she's like, you're gonna leave me for someone better. You think you're better, right? Finally left that. You think you're, I'm like, no, I don't think I'm better. Like, no. So there would be sometimes I'll have to like hide my success from her because she would make it about her. So there'll be a variety of different things. Also just like with hair color, she was very controlling with that. So she'd be like, I want your hair to be jet black with a bang, straight and long weave. I'm like, right, did she want, right. Well, I mean, you know, black people, we do bangs too.
We do very here and there. I used to rock a bang.
I love bangs, by the way. But it was so specific. It was like jet black, like number one, you know? Not 1B, one jet black with a bang and long and straight. So she ain't want curly, she ain't want all this. So for 2 years, I did that for her. No. And then I was like, I'm stepping out of this. I'm gonna, and then that would make her upset. And I realized that she didn't want me changing my hair color because she felt like hair color was like, I'm trying to attract attention. And she's like, I don't want you to attract attention. So even that was like controlling. So it was just horrible. Oh, yeah. But it was all in the name of like love and like, I really love you. And I don't want to do.
It's mask.
Yeah.
It's a mask that people wear.
Yeah.
And I have never been through anything like that, nor am I like that with my partner. I honestly, truly don't care how you decide to wear your hair, what color you want to wear your hair, what type of mascara you want to wear, what type of makeup you want to wear. How you wear it up, you wear it down, you wear a ponytail, side bang, whatever you want to do. Yeah. Express yourself because you are beautiful, you are gorgeous, and you're going to look good in whatever you do. So, yeah, you're absolutely, definitely right to leave that. And I just don't understand how another person can feel that they have some type of right or control over another person's body and creativity. Yeah. To limit them and how they want to express themselves. That just doesn't fly well with me at all.
Yeah. Well, a lot of times I think like people want to control their partners. They want to change them, and they want them to be who they want them to be. And that alone is like the foundation, I think. That can be the foundation of abuse too. It's like when you meet, it's like, okay, like you met me, I had a full face makeup, I had colorful hair, and you liked me and it was fine, and you're like, I'm gonna break you down, I'm gonna change you and shift you into what I want you to be. And this concept of like making yourself smaller for another person, right? And making yourself less of who you are. So, and I think also too, it shifts how people view like victims, quote unquote, of domestic violence, because a lot of times they're like, oh, you're timid and you're not strong, you're not whatever. No, there's a whole realm of abusers out there who are like, oh, you're outgoing, oh, you're confident, I want to be with you and I want to break you down. And that is like, and they look at it, it's kind of like those people who are like, ooh, I want to date the straight girl to turn around. It's like, I want to date the strong, powerful black woman and break her down, and that's going to make me feel better about myself. There's a whole realm of that, of people, because when I hear people like, oh my God, how could you be a survivor, like, or a victim of domestic violence, like, you're strong. It don't have a face.
At all.
It doesn't have a specific face. Yeah, no.
Okay, so now looking back, what were some of the signs that were there early on that maybe you noticed and maybe you just were like, oh, it's okay, they good, and, it's cool. Kind of like share that and, talk about what are some of the signs that you kind of noticed early on?
Right. I think signs are, like, I like talking about people's past relationships because a lot of the times people don't like to hear it, but that is a sign. Like, she told me very early on, like, yeah, all the girlfriends that I've had, I've hit them. I should have ran. I should have been word.
On spot,
Squirt.
On site.
But I was like, really?
What did she mean she hit them? Did you even ask?
She told me full on story. She was like, yeah, like they would try to do this, so I'll smack them, or I do this and I do that. And I interpreted it, I was also 24. I interpreted it as like, oh, maybe y'all just weren't a good match. Y'all weren't compatible. They didn't. I know, right? Oh, I know. Should have been a pattern. I should have noticed the pattern. But I was like, maybe it was them. She told me.
She told you
She
from the
told
beginning,
me. Yes. And after the first time she was physical, she was like, I can't guarantee you this isn't gonna happen again. That's another red flag. It was very clear. I think also too, asking people, like I said, we all have different types of trauma. I think another red flag is, how are you dealing with said trauma? I believe that just because you have bipolar disorder, you have depression, you have anxiety, you have any type of mental health challenge, that doesn't mean you can't be in a relationship. I just want to say that. I don't believe that. But I do feel that if you know those things about yourself, you have diagnosed, you know these things about yourself, what are you doing to manage it?
What are you doing to make yourself better?
Yes.
What are you doing to care for yourself?
To care for yourself. And she had no strategy. She didn't have a therapist. She didn't have a friend she was talking to about it. She didn't have a diary she was writing in. Like, she had no way of like channeling her stuff. So I should have known that also was a red flag.
And you want to know what else? That's also not your problem. That's also not your problem, concern, or baggage to carry for her.
Yeah. I agree. We have to all carry our own stuff.
Right, bitch. Right. I got my own thing going on.
Right.
What you can do, I can give you a few suggestions.
Yeah.
And if it is up to you if you want to, do something about it. But if you don't, okay, thank you.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. I think also too, another red flag is like the isolation. This is this concept of like, I want to be everything to you. People got to run from that shit.
Oh, yeah.
I don't want to be everything to you.
No.
Because you gonna need things outside of me. And I'm gonna need things outside of you. Yes. So this concept of like, I want to be everything. And it reminds me of the song, I think it's All My Life by Casey and JoJo. It came out like in the 90s.
mom.
Yes, and it's like, close to me, you like my mother. I don't want you my mother, my brother, my sister, my cousin. No, I don't want you to be all those things. Like, that's a lot. Like, no. And I think that was also a red flag, but that's a stigma. That's just like a misconception of what love is anyway. Because people are like, I want to be everything. I want to be your friend.
Yes.
I don't need to be your best friend, though.
Right. I agree with that. I agree with that. I'm like,
and it's okay.
My best friend, I could never date. I do not see romantically. I could never date. And those are the important boundaries that I have. Mm-hmm. I do think my, partner who I'm with, my girlfriend, whatever, yes, we should be friends.
Yes.
We should be very close friends. But
yes.
at the same time, I have my own best friend
yes.
who I can get on the phone with at 1 a.m. in the morning, talk to 3
yes.
a.m. in the morning about you.
About you.
And other things.
Yes. Because you need that. And so I'm like, I want to be your homie. I want to be your friend. But at the same time, I don't need to be your bestie.
Oh, no.
I don't need to be that.
Oh, no.
I mean, maybe it is relationship bestie, but like, not really, I need to be, I need to have, you need to have your own sets of friends, I need to have my own sets of friends, and we can have collab friends.
We can collabs, yeah.
But we need separate.
We need separate.
Yes. So there's like levels of that. I think that's also a red flag to me that now I don't look at, I need to be everything to my partner. Mm-hmm. I need to be a lot to you. You need to be a lot to me, but at the same time, not everything. It's just not realistic.
No.
So those are some red flags.
Everyone has to have options, and what I mean by options is pretty much, yes, we're together, yes, this is a relationship, but at the same time, I might just get tired of seeing your ass. I might want to, go have some other friends or do some other things. Mm-hmm. Doesn't necessarily mean that I don't love you and that I don't like you, that I'm not coming back home to you. Because I think like what I have or what you can have with your partner is something that's really, really special.
Yes.
And you'd be like, okay, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, I really want to spend time with you, and I want to be over here and be at your place, and we can kind of talk and catch up. But Thursday, Friday, Saturday, I want to go to my place, and I want to go out and see my friends, and I want to sleep in my bed, and I want to take a shower in my tub. Mm-hmm. And I want
Yeah, that's so real. And also, we have different likes and dislikes, too.
Yeah.
And I think sometimes in relationships, we try to become everything that person wants, and then now, and I do think that sometimes you could like the same shows. Like I was put on to some shows that music or whatever, but sometimes they're gonna be things that I'm like, I don't really care to see this with you, and I don't think you don't need to see this with me, right? And so I think that's also just a major thing. Like, we're just not going to have the same likes and dislikes and shit like that.
And that's okay. And I want people to understand that it's perfectly fine. It doesn't mean that you are incompatible with that person because y'all don't like every damn thing. No, it just means that, hey, you're vegetarian. You might enjoy eating, quinoa and kale salad. When I want a rib plate, I don't want to go to Popeyes.
Exactly. That's a whole nother thing, too. I'm recently pescatarian. And like when you cut out meat and you be hanging out with people and they be eating meat, it's like, okay,
that's what you were telling me.
That's real, But
I'm
yeah.
also hungry. That's how I treat my friends who are like vegetarian, pescatarian. I do respect that, but I know y'all be hungry.
Yeah.
I know y'all be hungry.
That's real.
I know y'all be hungry.
That's real. I mean, I think meat is delicious. So I'm not sitting here knocking anybody who eat meat. Actually, I look forward to hanging out with my meat eater friends. I'm like, ooh, that smells good. That smells so good. But yeah, I definitely feel like you definitely need your own stuff. And like, I think about things that I'm really into that I'm like, I'm into that with just my other friends. And that's fine. Like, that's cool.
So, what do you think about like how do you think, or why is it important to actually become your own person in a relationship and not just become so consumed by them?
Yeah.
Every waking hour. And I know that's really hard to do when it's a new relationship.
Yep.
And you just kind of found them and you guys click and you guys have that chemistry and you like them and you want to talk to them and be with them 24/7 every hour on the dot. When you wake up, I wake up. What's your crush out on my eyes? I look at you and kiss you. You have all those feelings. But it's also important to just be your own damn person.
It is. And
it's good to spot that early on and be like, look, I like you. I've noticed that I'm here a lot, and you seem to like me being here a lot, and that's cool, but we need to set some boundaries. So how can we go about doing that?
I think that's really hard because you also don't want to offend like I said, I think that a lot of people's concept of love is consumption, like overconsumption. I had to catch myself but like this idea of the more I spend time with you is the more I love you, and that may not always be true. And I think that's one thing when people live separately, but then when people live together, like how can you make space to also be your own person? I think you can definitely. There has to be a balance. You just gotta also just like. You could be in love with this person, but really got to be in love with yourself too, and not like on a cocky, egotistical way.
Like, look, I got
but like, I gotta just be around myself today, and that's real. And if you live with the person that you're with, like, yo, today I'm gonna just go to the park by myself, or, you know, whatever. I think you can also be in the same room as your partner, but being two different things. You know, maybe you date somebody and they playing video games and you want to listen to this podcast. You know, you put your headphones in and, you know, you listen to TOMGIRL Podcast and you're like, okay, and your partner's playing video games. Y'all in the same room. You're sharing the same physical space, but y'all are also just doing your own thing. And I think that that's beautiful. That's my belief.
Yeah, and I also have this one story that I'm going to tell you guys about me and my very, very first girlfriend that I dated in college. But right now, we got to take a little break. So right now, what's coming through my headphones right now is Drake's God's Plan. So pretty much for my story, I think I told you this. I was dating this girl. You know, she was my first college girlfriend, my first serious relationship. We really liked each other. We spent so much time together. So much time to the point where I would just be in her dorm all the time. And it became a lot. Like, we both lived in the same dorm. I lived on the 3rd floor. She lived on the 2nd floor. So every morning I had this morning routine where I would get up probably around like 6 a.m. I would go shower, brush my teeth, wash my face, throw some clothes on. I would hit the caf up. And I would be done probably around like 7:30. I didn't have classes until like, you know, I had late classes starting at noon and I had, you know, afternoon classes. So my mornings were pretty much always free. So she would just be there, I guess, in her dorm chilling. And I would decide, hey, you know, it's 7 a.m. I know Bae's still up in there asleep. Let me just go on up in there. So at first what turned out to be really innocent, hey, let me just go, you know, see my girl. How you looking at me? She's like, okay, I gotta get to the point. Okay.
No. That's not even it. Honestly, I'm looking at you because I'm like, yo, you woke up at 6 in the morning and you didn't have class till the afternoon?
Yeah.
That's actually how I'm looking at you. I'm sorry. Don't disregard my face.
So anyway, so my girlfriend, she had, her roommate was this girl who was in like ROTC or whatever, and she would get up every morning at like 4 a.m. for drills. And as she would get up, she would leave the door unlocked because she knew I would come behind her. So she'd be like, hey, Ariana, you know, I know you like to come in there or whatever. So, you know, I left the door unlocked. So, you know, 7 a.m. rolls around. I just come in there, just open the door. You know, I would just kind of get in bed with her. And then she would wake up. And I would just be right there. And at first, it was kind of like cute and it was cool. And she kind of knew I was there. She'd be like, oh, you know, it's so nice to kind of see you. But then I started to do that consistently. And she pretty much had to tell me, look, this is getting a little crazy because you just be coming over here. You don't even be telling me that you coming over here anymore. And I would have to be like, yo, look, this is kind of crazy. Hold that thought for 1 second.
Okay.
That card is full. So I got to change it out real quick.
Oh, darn. That typically happens?
No, but what happened was I left my SD cards home, and I had to use a different one. And I have like 2 slots, so I have a CF card that's a bigger card, and I left that one at home. So I have the option to just have like a dual, have it, you know, dual like 2 cards in there. But yeah, this will just be like 1 second.
Yeah, of course.
Okay, this will be a pickup in 3, 2, 1. So yeah, she pretty much just had to tell me, look, you know, I do like you and I appreciate you coming over here, but also I need my own me time in the morning to like shower and get ready without you being here so much. So can you please not do that? And then I had to say, okay, this is a lot. This is a lot. It was a lot. Like, I would just come in there. She would just be in bed. I just get into bed. It's a lot.
Yeah. I mean, but I will say, too, is that, one, I'm like, shout out to friends who might have been like, who probably gave her the confidence and the wording to talk to you about that. Because that's when you be like, yo, oh my gosh, my girlfriend's doing this thing. What do I do? This is why you need friends to be like, this is what you tell Ariana. Yeah. Secondly, I do think that it does depend on the dynamics of the relationship, because some people don't mind that, right? So I wouldn't just say this is not like a one size fits all, one shoe fits all. So she just so happened not to mind, right?
At first.
And
then I started doing
it. And then she did mind. But there's certain people out there who they love that, right? And if you dating that person and you find another person who loves that, be up under each other. That's great. But I think you need to ask the person. Not think. You need to ask the person and say, is this okay with you? And maybe you do it with a schedule. Because maybe you're like, maybe I just come Monday and Tuesday.
Yes.
And then that way the person preparing, you know, they kind of know you're coming.
Monday and Tuesday is your day.
Yeah.
So let me do my shit on days that aren't your days.
Right. Because for me, I just don't like pop-ups. Like, to me, it's like you don't do. Yo, I had an ex who came to my house. Shout out to Erin. Erin was a good girlfriend. She came to my house. I think we might have gotten to something, and she got my name shaved in the back of her head.
Girl, bye.
I was like, oh, that's cute or whatever. So she calls me and she's like, you know, I got your name shaved in the back of my head. And I'm like, oh, that's nice. Right. And then she was like, I'm down the block. I want to show it to you. Excuse me, you didn't tell me you was coming to my house? So she best believe she rang my doorbell, and I was living at home at the time. I was like, Mom, tell her I am not ready to receive guests today. And that might have seemed fucked up, but it was like, I don't like pop-ups. You didn't tell me you was coming to my house. And I don't mean 10 minutes away. You didn't tell me I'm about to get on the train to come to see you. No. So I don't like pop-ups, but I do think that you just got to talk to the person. See what they like.
You do, and you have to set those boundaries.
Boundaries.
You have to set those boundaries early on. I feel that it's good and important to talk about it. Be like, hey, you know, I like you. I want to see you.
Yeah.
I know you have your own space. I know it's important to you, and it's the same way for me. Especially like New York City, you know, if you're dating someone who lives in a different borough than you, that's real important.
It's like another country.
Yeah, so I have to take time to commute to you, so we need to kind of figure it out. Because I know you want to see me and I want to see you, so is it cool if I come over Sunday and spend the night Monday, leave sometime Monday afternoon?
Have a conversation.
Have a conversation with that person.
And try not to be only in feelings when they say, because I think what happens is like, what you mean you don't love me?
Yeah.
It's like, no, right? Like, it's not about that. Like, you know, so that's another piece too. It's like we have to also, like, people have to be ready to make boundaries, but then also understand when that boundary is made, it doesn't mean that they don't love you. You know, because I'm all about self-care. I actually encourage it. I'm like, you need a day for yourself? That's great. Like, shout out to that. I don't be like, what you mean you need a day away from me? Is that what it's about? It's not about me. It's about you. And the more you're able to love yourself and just, then the better you going to be. Exactly.
The better you can love on the relationship.
So play your video games, do you?
Right. So let's just kind of like hop over to something that we kind of really didn't talk about.
Yeah.
How do you feel about interracial relationships?
Oh, Took it there.
Tell me.
I
had to take it there.
I'm glad you did. Black people should date black people.
Okay.
Period.
Why is that?
Facts. That's it. Now, granted, like, you know, I shot myself out, you know, and I dabbled with some white girls in college. That's all I had access to. Okay, I went to a predominantly white institution I went to a liberal arts school in Massachusetts. It was like 2 black people, including myself. Okay, they were white girls, and that was the access that I had. That's when I was young. Okay, that's baby Jewel. Black people should date black people. That's just what it is. And I think, and the reason why I say that is because I feel like there's a certain kind of connection that black people have.
Always.
That is just embedded in us and like in our culture, in our whatever. And like, I don't care if you like West Indian black, if you African continent black, right? Whether you're Nigerian, Ghanaian, or use American Southern black, whatever. But black, that's just is beautiful. And honestly, like, especially melanin, right? Because, you know, we got black people who look like white people. So especially black people with melanin, you wake up to just the melanin laying next to you. It's beautiful. Y'all, you know, y'all intimate and your bodies, it's just brown and beautiful. That's just wonderful. Dating white people specifically, I mean,
now when I say interracial, I'm not talking about black and white. I'm just saying any person who falls under the category as other.
Okay, other. Oh, damn.
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't know. Fuck, I don't know.
Said you're other. Check other. So like POC, people of color, like that term?
No, they're not even brown.
No, but POC, I believe that people who are like Asian count as POC.
You think so?
Yeah, that's what people.
Not in the urban
That's why. Well, it's urban, you know. So they gon'. But that's why I don't like the term people of color, because it's just been co-opted by everybody. I'm like, do you mean color in terms of melanin? I don't know what you mean.
Yeah.
But
that's
like,
in terms of melanin.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
But some people consider like Asian.
White.
In terms of like white Asian, but like Chinese Asian is POC. So that's another level. But no, but I think even that, like, black people should date black people. Now I have black friends who date white people. So
okay.
Yeah.
And you look at me.
I mean,
like, damn, is Ariana that type of black?
You date white people?
No, I do not date white people.
Do you date women of color?
Yes, I do date women of color. All of my relationships, exes, have all been with a black woman.
Oh, so black.
Black as in me.
They have been black, but how about, I mean, even right now, right? We like, you know, we live in the world of like the Afro-Latinx and the Afro-Latinas.
Even Afro-Latinas, I still group them in the same category
as what?
Black.
As black. Okay.
Because they are brown. Now, recently, look at you.
There's levels. That's another episode.
Recently, I have been talking to someone who is not white, but they are not black. And I did not go out. Look at you. Looking at me. I did not go out to like seek this. It just so happened.
How did it happen? Oh, maybe that's another episode. Damn,
yeah, it's
juicy.
It's another episode, but I do hear you when you say black people should date black people, and all of my relationships have been with a black woman. But what do you do as a black person when all of a sudden you find yourself genuinely attracted to someone who's not black, and you have chemistry with them, and they also understand the socio-economic struggles of black people here in the United States? Because
they read a book or something? Like, how
that's so hilarious.
Did they watch a video?
Okay, maybe they don't have any firsthand. You so hilarious. Maybe they don't have any firsthand experience about what it is to be black.
Yeah.
Yes, but at the same time, they are not white, and people do not see them as white.
How they see them?
Other.
Yo, you cracked me with this other concept.
Oh my God.
So, hello, I date the others. Like, who the other? Okay. I mean, you know, I'm gonna stick to just black. I don't know. I mean, because I don't really want to date. You just gotta be black.
Yeah.
That's it. You gotta be black. Yeah. And I mean, yeah, maybe you read books about my struggle, maybe. But like, do you understand my hair texture? Do you understand that like when I get ashy, I don't want no lotion. I want some shea butter. Do you understand the difference of that? Do you understand these parts of my blackness? Do you understand my head wrap culture?
Right, and maybe they won't, but are you comfortable with explaining some of that?
No.
Why is that?
Child, no. Don't want to explain this to you. You should know.
You should know.
You should know. I mean, and I also just feel like there's a level of, there are certain people out here who date black people so that they can feel less racist. They can go home and be like, Black Lives Matter. I have a black girlfriend.
I'm like, that too. And that's not going to fly by me. So what I mean by this thing, I'm not going to talk about it too much on this episode because it's very, very new and I don't really have the permission to talk about this right now.
Okay.
So I'm aware of that. I'm aware that some people like our culture. Some people like the idea of being with us. Some like the idea of having kids with us and being with the black person,
Yes.
being with the black girl, but not actually loving us. So I'm aware of that, and I do call that out.
Yeah.
And I'm not going to be with someone who wants to just be with me because I'm black.
Yes, and that's real. That's so real. And anti-blackness is real too. Like this concept of like you could be a lot of other cultures, as you say.
Right.
But like anti-blackness already exists in the black community, which isn't.
Right.
So, and to have it outside of that, it's just, I'm not here for it. But that be offending people, because people would just be like, what is black? And like, I want to, you know. I say let's examine our attraction. What does attraction mean? I feel like.
Why are you attracted to me? You're attracted to me because I'm an attractive person on the outside. Yes, cool. But what, you know what I mean? I have to be really careful that it's not some type of fetish shit.
Yeah.
Like, oh my God.
But also, what is the attraction that black people have to not black people? What is that? Like, you know what I mean? I think we have to unpack it, because some people specifically be like, no, but I'm talking about on the flip side, the black people who don't date other black people. Because my first girlfriend didn't date black women. And then I was her first black girlfriend. Yes, she was black. So it was anti-blackness within black people. But her piece was like she would date white girls, and a lot of it was like, oh, their hair, and I'm like, so what's wrong with black? What's wrong, right? And like, what's wrong with your hair? Because you have locks. Like what's wrong with you, right? You hating yourself. So to me, I would question what is this specific attraction? That don't mean I don't see somebody and be like, oh, this person's pretty. Oh, this person's whatever. But I don't want to date you, and I don't want you to have access to my body. Thank you.
Signing off on that period. Y'all hear her, but yeah, I hear you.
Yeah.
And with the thing with me is I've always dated black women. I love black women who look like you, who look like me, who are brown all the time. This will be the very first time that I have swiveled outside of my
well,
race.
good luck.
You said good luck. She said good luck. You will be back. You will be back.
Yes, we welcome you back on this side.
Please invite me to the barbecue, guys. Yes. Ariana can't come here no more.
You gotta come to the cookout.
She with this white girl who's not white.
But you. All right, we'll chat. Because this is also like where you bringing these like, would you bring this person to see Black Panther? Would you see this person? Would you bring this person to these like exclusively black events? Because then that's what we gonna look at you funny, Ariana. I'm gonna look at you funny.
I know. How about this? So yesterday was not yet. Saturday was Friday was
premiere Black
Queer Abstract.
Queer Abstract, yes.
Yes, and I brought them there.
Oh.
Yeah.
But Queer Abstract isn't like a specific black space.
Right.
So
she's not white, Jewel. She's not a white girl.
She's not black.
I hear you, but
cause like I'm gonna do an Afro Beats party in April, and it's gonna be an exclusively black space. No, exclusively black. And this is I've just saying I've literally thrown parties where it's exclusively black. People bring people who they're dating who are not black, and people think that they're like, oh, I'm like, first of all, why you brought your non-black person here?
Right.
Why you do that? I'm looking at you funny.
I know. And see, the thing about it is though, like I said, this is very new, but I know people are gonna look at me and say, oh, I knew she doesn't date black women. Or I just knew I just knew she didn't like black women. But that's so not true. That's like far from the truth. Now, here's another truth that someone told me that I didn't know about, and now I'm thinking, maybe this is right. Maybe all the black women that I like, that I have been attracted to, maybe they just didn't like me, or maybe I wasn't their type.
But you're not dating this person because you don't have access to other black women.
Correct.
This is your choice.
Correct.
Right. So, but you've dated other black women who were attracted. So, like, I don't think that's a thing.
I don't think that's a thing.
But there are black people who have had bad experiences with other black women, right? And that's what I'm saying. So, like, my first girlfriend, the reason why she didn't date other black women is because she was made fun of by black girls. So she interpreted, like, oh, black girls, they're going to make fun of me, and blah, blah, blah. Her own trauma around black women, so she didn't date black women. That's real. Now she's dating a black woman. So I woke up, I was able to break through that. I was the first, and now she's many years with a black woman, which is dope. I'll let her girlfriend thank me another time. But yeah, I think it's like access is real. I think the black friends that I do have who date, who outside of their race or whatever is because of access sometimes. And that's real. I told you I experienced that when I was baby Jewel. But there's a whole lot of black people out here.
Yes.
Please.
Yes. So I will let you know how that goes, you know, whether it be months from now. You might ask me like, hey Ariana, you still with that other? Like, nah, it didn't work out.
And then I have some black lesbian friends. I'll hook y'all up.
Okay. All right. I appreciate that.
Yeah.
Now what about you? Are you single?
No.
And see, that's what I wasn't so sure about. I was like, okay, this girl, you know, she's kind of cute, but I don't think she's really single.
No, I'm not. No, I'm not single. I have been with my partner for, it's like 1 year official relationship, 1 year dating. So I'm going to collectively say 2 years.
Okay.
Yeah. And it's interesting because, and that's one of the setup too, because like, you know, this person is not someone who is a woman. This person's a gender non-conforming person. So that's very interesting too. We have a lot of conversations around like, can you identify as a lesbian but date someone who is not a woman, right? Who's a gender non-conforming person. That's a whole other segment too. When I do my podcast, I'm gonna talk about that deeply because I've been asking people like, what does that look like? Right. But yeah, so I'm not
cool.
single.
You are officially off the market.
I am off. Yes,
so
on lock.
Yeah, when you had invited me to was it the Beyonce party? Was it the Beyonce party? No, it was something else.
It was. I did have a Beyonce party. You came to the Janet Jackson party.
Janet Jackson party.
Yeah, and now we have a Rihanna party.
I heard. It's
yes,
Friday, right?
This Friday, 23rd. Yep.
All right, so we'll give the details out to that later in the show. Yeah. But when I was at that party, was your partner at that party?
Yes.
And that's what I thought. And that's what I thought. But I was like, damn, I think that's her partner. Maybe I should ask her. But
yeah. That's my partner. Okay, depending, I mean, if you're talking about the same person. But yeah.
Y'all came together.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, that's my partner.
All right. So what's your love language? Tell me about that.
My love language. My love language is words of affirmation. That's really key to me. I'm super mushy. I'm like, oh, tell me all the words, tell me all the love that you have.
Your Venus must be in Cancer.
No, my Venus is in Virgo.
Y'all ain't with the bullshit.
No.
Y'all ain't with the bullshit.
No. Okay. Call you out on the bullshit real quick. But yeah, my words of affirmation, and I think it's that mixed with acts of service, which sounds so weird. So I'm all like about like, tell me the words, tell me the things, but also do the things to back up the words.
Yeah.
So that's my shit. Because if you also are not backing up the things, then your words no longer matter. So like I need them to. I think I score pretty evenly in acts of service and words of affirmation. What's yours? What's your love language?
I'm all about that check. I like that money. Yeah, I like the money, and what I mean by that is my Venus is in Taurus.
Okay.
So I'm really big on security.
Yes.
I like a partner that's secure, financially stable. You don't necessarily have to make more money than me, but I like someone who is together because I need that. I need that in my life. I need that rock.
They need to have good credit.
They need to have good credit.
So then that's what's gonna be hard for you to date black people because you know we just don't really have the best credit. But
to be honest though, like I've dated so many black women who didn't and who probably made less money than me, and I was perfectly fine with that.
Okay.
Because
that's fine.
I like stability. I like money. I like to look good. I like to go out. I like nice things, and I'm okay with saying that.
Are you paying?
Money. Huh?
Are you paying, Ariana, for these things?
I do pay.
So you pay. Okay.
Yeah. So I'm not like a gold digger, but I mean, it's kind of funny because I have my Venus is in Taurus, so I'm not a gold digger, but best believe, like, you gotta have that check.
But you say you're paying, so why does she need to have the check?
And what I mean, as far as in a partner, what I look for in a partner, I would like for them to be able to kind of go half on a few things. Okay. Because there has shout out to that. Yeah. There have been like certain times where I know that I make more money than my partner, or for whatever reason, and I would just maybe this was just me just doing it, but I would just pay for everything. Every day, every time we went out, I would pay bitches bills. I would pay a cell phone bill. I would pay everything. Because you got it. But it feels good to actually be with a partner who maybe they make more money than you, or maybe they are more secure than you, and maybe they don't have an issue with paying for shit. Yeah. And I think like like, who? I'm like, yes. Yes. I think that's hella valid. I think it should be about equity. I think that, like, if you have more, like this whole 50-50 concept, like I don't think that really should apply if one person's making more. But I will say, even if you are making more, because for me, I could be making more, but I have a lot of bills, right? And so like, I have a whole two-bedroom apartment by myself.
And like I have student loans, like, you know, and so it's like, okay, I may or may not make more, but I may or may not have more expenses than you. So I think that's hella real. And I think a lot of times femmes can be like, you need to pay for everything.
Oh, yeah.
You need to be
and I dated
zaddy.
a lot of those femmes. I'm just like,
Yeah.
my God.
Yeah. But I mean, if you got it, do it. But I don't think it should be an expectation. Like,
It shouldn't be
you are maybe the more masculine person in relationships. You should pay more. I don't think that should be present.
Right.
Not at all.
And now, like, I'm learning to be like, okay, that's fine. You know, like, if I go out with a certain person, if I go out on a date, if they offer to pay, not even half, but just to pay for everything, I'm like, all right, it's cool, because I done paid for so damn much. Like, it kind of feels good.
Yeah.
All right, it's cool. I'll let you take care of it, and I don't feel emasculated or, like, less than. I'm just like, all right, you got it.
That's cool. That's what's up. So that's your love language.
That's my love language, is MONEY, like, period. I'm really about the money. And I'm not saying that, I don't really care how I sound. Because at the end of the day, I will sleep well that night.
I hear that. I don't know.
Like, bitch, don't buy me no flowers. I don't need none of that shit. Where's the check?
Oh, damn. Okay. I don't know. I've dated some people who didn't have money, who didn't have a job. Like, you know what I mean? So to me, that's not key to me. Right. But I hear you.
I'm not saying it's key, but I would love, I'm like, damn, like, okay, it's not key, but like.
You are saying it's key. And it's okay.
Yeah, it is.
Admit it. Hold on to it. Be like, it's key. It's about the money.
It's key.
You know what I'm saying? It's real.
You stop, let me not. Stop dating down, bitch. Stop dating down. Stop it.
I don't know. That doesn't really matter to me. It's about how you treat me, because you can make a lot of money and treat me like shit. I will be in a cardboard box with a motherfucker.
But see, I'm not with you. I'm not with you for the money because I have my own. I'm also a very secure financial person, so I have my own. So I like for my partner to mirror that.
Okay.
And when we're together, it's two bad bitches in the motherfucking room.
I hear you.
At all times.
Yeah.
I don't need nobody rolling up to me, texting me, which, hey, Ariana, I see you with your broke bitch.
Yeah.
Hey,
I don't give a fuck. Shout out to the broke bitches, because broke bitches need love too.
Stay dating these broke bitches, oh no.
Shout out to the broke bitches, because broke bitches need love too. So shout out to that. I don't know. I'm about love. I'm like, oh, you love me and I love you. And you want to just, oh my God, you want to give me a massage.
That's gonna get you so far. That's gonna get you so far. When your lights are off, when you know what I'm saying. But
then you have a candlelight dinner.
And you can invite your white friends, right? They down with
white friends. Wait,
like,
how do we get to the?
She's like,
I only have one white friend. That's it.
Your neighbor.
Nate? Oh, you played me because of where I live. No, this is not true. No. We have to limit ourselves with the amount of white friends that we have. You can't overly saturate yourself with white friends. I can just do one at a time.
Right, one at a time. You're at your limit right now.
Yep, just one.
So, let's kind of dive back into this mental health. What advice would you give anyone who is lesbian, queer, whatever, they fall under that huge, long category, if they are thinking about seeking therapy or anything like that, what would you tell them?
Yeah, I think that, shout out to therapy, shout out to therapists. I say choose a therapist that understands your experience. So, like I said, specifically talk about Black people, because that's where my heart is. So find a Black therapist. If you can, find a Black queer therapist, and queer is a very general term. So queer in terms of gender, queer in terms of sexuality. I do think that that's important to have therapists who understand on a deeper level, not just like what they read. So I think that that's key. Find someone who's like the therapist that you have, who's like flexible in terms of co-payments and things like that. Shout out to those therapists who allow that to happen. So I think those are key. And then shout out to the friends who also become our therapists, right? And who hold space for us. I know I have a lot of specifically Black women, like Erica, I have a friend Janelle, friends who I could talk to who are not therapists, but they hold a lot of space for me, and that, So I think just have someone you can talk to about these things. I think that's key.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. And yeah. So like we said, jealousy is not cute, guys. What would be your advice?
Yeah.
To anyone who was going through what you were going through?
Yeah. So first, Leave when it's safe to leave.
Okay.
Because one of the highest rates of like when people get murdered and die in domestic violence relationships are when they're leaving.
Yes.
And that was when my peak physical things would happen, when I would try to leave her.
Mm-hmm.
So have strategy. Figure out what are the steps that you need in order to leave. If you think about Tina Turner,
Oh, yeah.
she didn't just like leave. Like she's like, you have to have a plan.
Mm-hmm.
So leave when it's safe, right? So don't just be like, people are like, oh, call that friend and like leave. Why are you still in it? No, you need to figure out when is it safe.
Mm-hmm.
I know for me, in order for me to leave, I had to do a lot of like lying. I had to be like, yeah, I know you're gonna move out, but you never know how it goes. Like I had to make it seem open so that she could leave and I could do it in a safe way versus her trying to like attack me physically. So I had to kind of like lie to kind of get out of that relationship. Do that. So do it when it's safe. And also have friends and people on your side who rock with you no matter what.
Oh, yeah.
Not that friend who's like, you stupid, why are you still with this person? No, have that friend who's like, yo, this is your worth. Yo, you like, have that friend who's gonna call you out, but have that friend who's also gonna like understand that sometimes it may take a little bit of like, it may take time for you to leave. Like have that friend who's like, all right, I'm ready to leave. Who pick me up outside, have my get that Uber ready for me. So have that. This is it. Right. Get the motherfucker. So yeah, I think that those are key for me, and heal yourself after. And like for me, that's why I kind of don't solely use the word survivor, because survivor sounds like, oh, I went through this thing and now I'm all better. I'm never gonna be better. Like what this person did to me has forever scarred my life. It's all a matter of how do I handle the scar? How do I manage the scar? Talking about it is healing. Writing about it is healing. Processing it, not blaming yourself. All those things is like a major part of it. So I think those are like words of advice.
That was awesome. That was awesome.
Thank you.
All right. So, yeah, this has been a really interesting episode. I have Jewel Cadet here with me.
Yes.
So go ahead and shout out your social media.
Yes. So I don't have Twitter. So my Instagram is Jewel_the gem. And I'm on Facebook, Jewel Cadet, Jewel, last name Cadet.
All right, talk about your little upcoming party that you got going.
Yes, upcoming party. Let me pull up the flyer real quick. So yeah, it's something called a She Party. That is my favorite DJ. Her name is Boston Sherry.
Oh yeah, I love
Haitian.
Her. I love her.
Yes.
I want to have her on my show. Actually.
Oh.
I got her number.
Yes.
I'm gonna reach out to her. I want to have her on my show real soon.
Yeah, she's super dope. Yeah, so we met, we vibed, and so ever since I've been kind of like hosting some of her parties. So we have a Rihanna party coming up on Friday, this upcoming Friday, but I don't know when it's about to air. So Friday the 23rd, and it's going to be at the Love Story Bar in Bushwick, which is 894 Wyckoff Avenue, and it's between 9 and 3. So it's a Friday, so, I don't know, it's 9 to 3, and it's free entry, so shout out to free parties.
Cool.
So yeah.
All right. That's what she has going on. And as always, guys, you can find me on Instagram and Twitter at TOMGIRL PODCAST. My personal Instagram is at AnnoyingArtist. I have it disabled right now, but probably when you hear this, I will bring everything back online. So that's where you can find me. And as always, my important point that I just want to share with you guys is it's so important to create your own space within a relationship and not get caught up in the other person. Do you have anything else that you want to add?
Yeah, no, I think boundaries are real. I think black love is the best love, and that's my last thing.
All right, guys, we're gonna close it out. You hear the music. Thank you guys so much for tuning in and listening and following me. And you guys, I have my first guest on my show.
Hey,
it's been a long time coming. TOMGIRL is almost 1 year. It's been a long time coming. Thank you guys so much for tuning in and listening. I gotta do that one more time. My throat is like killing me.
Okay.
You can hear it. You can hear it. You can hear it.
Not that bad. Hope you're not contagious, because if I get infected.
Okay, and this will be a pickup in 3, 2, 1. As always, guys, I gotta wrap it up. You hear the music. This has been an amazing episode. I have my first in-studio guest ever, Jewel Cadet.
I'm the first.
I know, but
because I slid through the DMs.
I know, she slid through the motherfucking
That's how you
DMs.
get the first.
She slid through the motherfucking DMs. All right, New Mexico kept it real from the jump. East Coast annoying, I'm the best thing going. PVD goes the hardest, and everything I do is so Providence. Thank you guys so much. Good night from Manhattan.